Hello everyone, how you doing today? I'm back with another video, and in today's video we got in ourselves a really beaten up Acer Aspire laptop. This one has been going through hell, I guess. This one is an Acer Aspire 5253 series, 5253 series. The exact model is a P5we6, and that information can be found on the bottom of the laptop. So this one is really banged up, has a broken top cover palm rest right here. So yeah, so let's put this one back in there, stay right there, as it's really dirty. What I'm gonna show you guys right now is how to clean it up nicely, how you can service your laptop. This owner probably has a cat or a dog, where there's lots of cat or dog hair right all. It's like a cat or maybe a pug, I guess. So we're gonna clean it up. The stuff that you're gonna be needing is an repaste the whole motherboard too at the same time. So we need an alcohol, isopropylic or isopropylic alcohol. You will need a toothbrush, 1 or 2 clean toothbrush or old used toothbrush, a workshop towel, 1 or 2 sheet of workshop towel. You will need those. You will need your thermopaste. I'm going to be using an Arctic Silver 5, but I would recommend you guys to grab the Arctic MX4, which are way better. And I'll leave the link in my video description. I'm just finished with this one until I get mine tomorrow. For now, I'm going to be using an Arctic Silver 5. And also, you will need an opening tool. For the opening tool, you can get the UFIXTEK Pro set, the screwdriver set with a Pro version, which includes your tweezers and opening tools. Or you can get just the screwdriver set. You're going to be using a Phillips number 1. If you just get the screwdriver set, you can, instead of the opening tool, you can get the guitar pick. A metallic guitar pick is really suitable to opening covered plastic like that. All right, pretty much, I'm guessing this is it. So let's get it started. First thing first, you want to power off the laptop. You want to flip it upside down. And there's like a painted in here. You want to remove the batteries. To remove the battery, unlock it, put the trigger towards the right, and pull up the battery. And first, we're going to remove the service cover for the hard drive. So go ahead and remove 2 screws for the service cover here. The screws are the same size and height. Put your finger there and open it up, but if you don't have a finger, put a screwdriver there and just lift it up, crack it up, and remove the bottom. You can go ahead and clean it up. And the hard drive would be just right here. There should be a 1 screw right here for the hard drive. This one doesn't have it, so you have to remove this tiny screw right in here. Where the screw from here is for the cover and the top cover, but there should be another one right here, but it's missing. So, and somebody already marked it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna push this hard drive towards the left side, help it out until you get disconnected from here. You wanna remove the hard drive, clean it up if you need. And down here we got the RAM, and there's not much we need to remove. We need to remove this screw too here. So let's start removing all the screws on the cover, including the one in here, and the tiny ones at the back of the battery right there. And let's see the one in the middle for the DVD drive. So go ahead and remove all of them. Also, if you guys like my content and if my content helps you guys out and you wish to support the channel, you can do it by clicking that like button and thinking about subscribing. I really appreciate it. It will be a great motivation and support for me to make more videos and take your requests from you guys, help you guys out in the comment area, and I really greatly appreciate it. The screws on the cover and the one by the RAM, these are the same size screws, so don't worry about mismatching them. So all the screws are the same, except the ones at the bottom of the battery. These are really tiny screws. You can't mistake them. Simply, the big screws will not fit there, so if it's not X, it's Y. There we go. So even the cover screws are the same, so keep two pile of screws right there. We're gonna remove the DVD drive screw. And we're gonna remove the DVD, just pulling it out. We are gonna remove the Wi-Fi cables from here. Unplug the Wi-Fi cable, just loose them up. We're gonna open up the laptop in a normal position. Just double check, make sure you didn't miss any screws. Now we're gonna remove the keyboard. To remove the keyboard is really simple. At the right on top of F8, there's a tiny hook right there. You want to push the hook towards the screen and lift up the keyboard. Hook right on F12. Hook right on a delete. Right at the end. And there's one by F4. And the last one is by the escape. So once you have those ones hooked up and just want to lift up from the middle, bring it up. There's a tiny steady hook here. So just bring it up and that's it. To remove the clip right here, all you need to do is pull this trigger, the green thing towards to yourself, just about 1 millimeter, and the flex cable will come out pretty easy. You can use that toothbrush, take it outside and clean this one and blow some air through here. Down here, there's a whole bunch of screws. We're gonna remove all the screws up here. So these are the medium-sized screws. They are the same. So keep them in another pile. So remove all the screws that you see on top here. All right. Now we're gonna use tweezers. And we are gonna remove this contact, the trackpad, slide the triggers backward, and slide the flex cable back. And for the speakers or microphone, I believe it's microphone, pull up the black jack backward. This one is really too fine, so I'm just gonna pull these triggers, put it right there, and it becomes really hard sometimes, but there we go. So I'm just gonna pull this jack really back. The speaker is right here. Again, wiggle it around and it should release itself. The on-off switch right here, pull the triggers on the sides up 1 millimeter and slide out the flex cable. The flex cable for the screen, LCD, just slide it back and that's it. You can leave it in because we're gonna get there right now, so I'm just gonna leave it half loose. Now we need to remove the palm rest. To remove the palm rest, remove the SD card reader right here. You want to stick the guitar pick or the opening tool between the top and the bottom cover and just want to wiggle it around. And you're gonna hear some cracking, that's fine. Somebody put a glue in here. I don't know why they glued this part. I guess because it was broken. So there's a super glue here. So I'm gonna break this super glue right there. So yeah, you should be able to do this without anything if it's your first time. I don't know why they put glue in here. Yeah, so pretty much all you want to do is just wiggle it around, go all around on the left and right side. To the back side. Then on this side. There's more glue right there. That's because the case was broken, I guess. They thought if the super glue is gonna save the day. So I'm just gonna lift up the top cover, bring it up, and there's the broken part. You can put a better glue on top, not a super glue. Alright, so now we're gonna remove the bridge cable from here to extra USB just by unhooking these two hooks and sliding the flex cable back. Bring it up, put it down underneath so it doesn't bother you. The adapter for this one. Okay. You don't have to unhook it, leave it there, or you can just remove it so it doesn't bother you. We remove this one. Now we can continue removing the flex cable for LCD. Remove it. Bring it to one side. We are going to remove the motherboard by removing no screw on the motherboard. There's one right here, so remove this screw right over here. These are the same size screw as the top cover. Remove 3 screw for the fan. Okay. And the fan is now loose, and I can see a whole bunch of dust in there. Holy moly. Alright, so we're gonna just lift up the motherboard slowly. There's a power cable coming through here, so lift it up, bring it back a little bit. And lift up the fan. So let's see if I lift up the fan. Look at all this dust right here. This is the dust I'm talking about. You don't want this one. This is just gonna clog up and you're gonna overheat. So now we're gonna actually go ahead and lift up the motherboard, unhook it from there and bring it towards the screen. And at the back here, you wanna unhook this jack, just pull it back. This is the power jack. Now you got the whole motherboard out. You can take this outside with a toothbrush and clean up the both side on the hinge, in here, everywhere. Just go ahead and clean it up. And before that, we're gonna unhook the jack fan cable right here just by pulling it back. And the heatsink is right over here. It's like a half clean because I pulled the whole chunk of the thing on top. We're gonna remove the 4 screws for the CPU. Okay, and bring it up. And there's the old thermal paste is really dried up. It's not even, it's like a concrete. The thermal pad, this is like a 0.5 millimeter thermal pad. You don't have, this is a PCS chip. You don't actually need to replace it, but if you want, go ahead and do it. All right, so we're gonna clean up the heatsink by taking the little bit of alcohol on a towel right here, put it in, and clean up the CPU. Just rub it on the die. On the secondary die. And now we're gonna clean up the thermal paste on the CPU, on the heatsink. All right. Now we're gonna take it outside. We're gonna blow some air with a toothbrush, clean up the heatsink nicely. And the motherboard is already cleaned up. You can just dust it off with a toothbrush and put it to one side. And we can service up the fan. To service up the fan, let's see if we can do it right now. To clean up the fan, all you need to do is to work in a nice clean spot. I can get this open, yeah, there we go. Now we're gonna grab a screwdriver bit number 00 Phillips, and we're gonna remove 2 screws on the fan, one on there and the one right on the other corner. And we are gonna lift up the hooks, and there's this tiny hooks. You gotta, with your finger, just open it up a little bit, and the cover should come out pretty easy. There we go. Now there's a tiny tape here. Remove this tape right there. And there we have it. Go ahead and clean it up. You can lift up the fan from the middle here. You can see the fan is rubbing against the cover there. So lift it up evenly from both sides like that. Bring it up. And you can disconnect it right there. And you can see it is bone dry. There's nothing in there. There's no lubricant or anything in there. So we're gonna lubricant and put a lube right in there and clean up. We're gonna first take it outside with a toothbrush, clean everything, and I'll be back right after this. And I cleaned up the keyboard, the fan, and the heatsink. So what we're gonna do here is to grab a lubricant. I'll leave this lubricant in a video description, the link. You wanna drop 1 tiny drop right, or 2 drops maybe in the tiny hole right where it goes. And that's it, no more than 2 drops. Okay, if you put more than 2 drops, just suck it back in. You don't want to overdo with the lubricant. And you want to put the fan on top. Do a few counterclockwise and clockwise, and remove and put it back on. And that should clean it up nicely. Also, you can, before doing this, I forgot, you can clean up the inside of the fan you should do this before you put it down. I totally forgot. You want to clean it up with an alcohol and do it like this and put it right in there so you can clean the magnet and the extra dust that builds up in there. So you just do 1 or 2 passes, it's gonna come out black always. So as much as you can clean it up, so that's fine. So you can remove all this dirt, and now you can put it in there, and there's still some lubricant in there, so that's fine. Now it feels much better. You want to close this leg a little bit, and you want to bring it on top and lock it in place. Lock it in place in there. There we go, and put the 2 tiny screws right on the fan. This is the proper way of doing your service and maintenance. People only think like cleaning it up and putting thermal paste, that's it. But no, you need to service your fan too. That's what's the most important part, is the fan. Obviously, it is important the other stuff too, but the fan is the most important one. So we're gonna grab the thermal paste. Now we're gonna put a tiny drop on the CPU. There we go. And if you want, you can put a tiny spot on the other chip. It does help. People like, you shouldn't put thermal paste with the thermal pad. It does actually help out, so to fill up the pores of the thermal pad. So put the pad on top. Put this one, align it straight over, and put the screws for it. That's Phillips number 1. Whenever you put the screws for this one, always cross screw them. Put halfway through. You don't need to tighten up right now. Put just on top, and then second pass you want to go ahead and tighten it up. So this way the heatsink, the thermal paste goes evenly all over the place instead of going and pushing it to one side. So I'm going to push this one all the way down and then go across each other, just an X position on an X shape. Cross screw them, and that's it. Now we need to connect the fan. The tape is underneath, so this tape has to be on top. There we go. Plug in the fan, squeeze it right in there. Make sure this tape is on top. Go ahead and open up the laptop that you cleaned already. Okay, now first we need to put the power jack, so leave it in this position and bring it and connect the power jack. Only goes in one way, so don't worry about it. Just push it all the way in. Now move the flex cable for the screen the other side and bring it over. Align, squeeze down the VGA connector first all the way in and bring it over and push it down. Make sure it sets down nicely flat. If that's happening, because this cable right there has to go on the other side, not on this side. Has to go right on that crack right there, and there we go. Now we got the motherboard in place. Bring this flex cable on top, the bridge, the expansion right there, and plug it in there. Slide it right under the connector. This one's supposed to be a little more, but remove the adhesive so you can bring it nicely. It goes nicely all the way through. There we go. Put that single screw here by the keyboard connector so it holds the motherboard in place. Grab this cable for the microphone, I believe. Run the cable between these grooves right there. Bring it right there. And plug it in there. This cable has to be right in there. Squeeze it. Push it down. There we go. Like it's coming out. Jesus. Alright. Alright, now we're gonna put the flex cable for the screen. Just run it all along and bring it evenly to the jack and push it from the sides. Grab it and push it in. Put the 3 screws for the fan. tighten up the hinge screws. They sometimes become a little bit loose. All right, once we got all this in, we are ready to put the top cover. Just double check all the connections, make sure it's staying there. Grab the palm rest, bring the palm rest straight over, put it right. Before we put that, I forgot to put the DVD drive connector right here. Slide it right in there. Lock it in place, put it in there. The screw here comes from the top part, so put the palm rest right on top. Squeeze the front end, the sides, squeeze the back corner, pinch them together, put the flex cable for the on-off switch, just push up the legs a little bit, and put the jack right underneath and clamp in the connectors. The trackpad, same thing. Bring it over and squeeze it right in there. Put the speaker, and just plug in the speaker connector, and let's put the screws. Let's put the screws for here for that track palm rest. Okay, and after that, put the dummy SD card reader right there. Now we're gonna grab the keyboard. You're gonna put it in an offset position. Open up the lock. Make sure the lock is all the way towards front end of the laptop. It goes under the lock, all the way towards the jack. Open up the lock so it goes nicely in, and then you wanna lock it down and push it towards the screen, the lock, and that's it. Grab the bottom of the keyboard, has to go under the palm rest, and just squeeze it down. Squeeze down the top side. Make sure those clicks. On this side too, push it down. If you want to add some kind of glue in here, if yours is broken, but if not, just leave it. It looks much better right now. We can clean the palm rest with a cleaner, plastic cleaners, even the top part at the end. Now at the bottom part, we're gonna first connect the cables for the Wi-Fi. Just bring them on top of the connectors and just smack them right on top. It's just a push down clips, and that should be all. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the DVD drive, just slide it in there. Just grab it, bring it, slide it in there. And the last thing would be to first, let's finish up with this one. Put the hard drive in here, put it down. This flex cable is just making a tiny bump in there. It's okay, nothing's gonna happen. Just leave it like that. Put it down and slide it towards the connector, and put the tiny screw for the hard drive that you removed. And first, get rid of the tiny screws under the battery. There should be like 4 of them. And the last thing would be to just grab the rest of the screws, just slam it right all over the place on the cover. And that should be all. This is how you repaste, clean up your Acer Aspire laptop. This model is 5253 series. The exact model is a P5we6. If you guys have any question or request, please feel free to ask them in the video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Just gonna finish up putting up the bottom screws and see that then I'll be done. And the bottom cover, you know how it goes. Don't forget about the bottom cover. Before you put the bottom cover, put the screw right by the ram. People always forget it. They're like, where does that one go? Once you put that one, grab the cover, put the front end of the cover first, and then squeeze down the cover all the way in. Put the last 2 screws on the cover. I am actually gonna finish up putting the screws and power it on and see if it powers on. Alright, grab the battery, put the battery right on top, and all you need to do is to just plug in the charger. You can go ahead and power it on. By pressing F2, you go to the BIOS, and we got the ASUS, and we are in the BIOS right there.